Here we are with another video on our continuing Classroom Classics series from the Awareness website. I'm still Kevin, and this video we're going to go into the first left brush knee coming from Stork Spreads Wings. We're going to throw in a couple of new dynamics, some variations on some exercises. So hang in there, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to go into the first left brush knee of the set. So we're going to break this down a little bit, going from the Stork Spreads Wings. Now, the left brush knee is done 7 times in the set, as opposed to the right brush knee. I'm going to let you guys figure out how many times the right brush knee is done. And let's get into it here. Now, we've been talking about moving the spine, shifting the spine, turning, spiraling, all that kind of stuff. And the Stork Spreads Wings is a great move to working through that. But going down, so you have to sit down out of white Stork Spreads Wings and stepping forward and going into the first left brush knee. So we're going to be sort of trying to let you know about the different aspects. So I mean, spiraling is such a prevalent thing in pretty much all the moves that I really want you to get a good sense of it. So we're going to throw some things in here that'll help you do it. But let's start with the move here first. So I'll do it facing this way so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll go from the Stork Spreads Wings. So you shift to the right, get your weight loaded into this leg so you can push from your right leg. So you place the toe, and then you turn and stand up. Turn to the front, and then you drop your elbows, open up, sit back down, turning to the right, step forward, and then come forward with your left brush knee. Now, going into that, you can see that there's this element of being in this leg, and you're going to move this foot over. But notice I don't pop up to shift this foot in. And I talked about that in the last video a little bit. When you shift across, you get a sit. So you're going to shift across and spiral down, load into this leg. You're going to move this foot into place. And I'm going to talk about the spacing with this too, because it's pretty important when you go into the left brush knee. And then you're going to stand up and turn forward. So you're trying to get that timing of coming up, and as you get the arms connected with it, you get that spiraling effect, that expansion. So you place the toe and you start pushing with the leg. And the arms just relax and expand up. And then when you get to the top, you drop the elbows, start to sit back down, and notice I turn to line up with my right foot. So my leg stays lined up to that 45. The right hand turns palm up. So it goes from palm up here, you turn the wrist and drop the elbow, and then the arm sweeps down and comes up, palm up behind you. Now, not in a straight line like this, because this pinches the shoulders back. So your body's at 45, so this arm is in a line out to the 45. Can be back a little bit more to get a bit more stretch, but don't go too far, because that starts to twist the spine. So you don't want to do that. Okay, shifting across, place the toe, push up, and then the wrists will turn, dropping both elbows. The left arm is coming out to the front as the right arm circles and comes out behind you. Now, a lot of this stuff, and we were in class the other night, and Shelley we're working on Shelley's a little bit, and she says, "Well, you never told us that before." There's little elements in here that, yeah, you don't find them out right away, but little bits come in. So the idea of dropping the elbows is you're coming up. So here, both arms are expressing, And then as you start to sit down and turn, notice both elbows are down. And both arms express out, expand out. So the bottom hand, as you start to sit down, starts to turn, the elbow drops, and the hand comes up to the front, as opposed to lifting the arm up and pushing it out. So the top hand, the elbow drops, the wrist turns, and because it's got longer ways to go, it moves faster than the left arm. So your arms are going at different speeds, but it's equal and opposite. They're still expressing equally. So they separate, drop the elbows, both arms express, and you sit down into the right leg.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt, and I don't usually do this, and that's why Kevin giggled a little bit ago, because I had a very funny look on my face. I would like to know how it is on your left arm that you're actually dropping your elbow. Because you're saying drop both elbows, and that doesn't make sense to me, which,
okay.
Carry on.
So the left arm dropping the elbows, it's a very subtle thing. So here, when you press down, the elbow is here, but instead of lifting the arm up, you sit down and the elbow drops. So the hand turns and comes out. So here, notice this elbow is down as opposed to out. A lot of people, they've learned this spiraling thing and they start to swing the arms around, make these big gyration movements. But it's very, very simple. Is you just relax, drop elbows. That's the most, probably one of the most common things Mr. Moy would say. He would say, drop elbows, of course, sit, and arms out. So drop elbows, arms out. So getting the arms going. It's a very subtle thing, and you have to really pay attention to whether when you start to sit, as you swing the arm out, like I say, some people just sort of start doing this real twisty kind of action to make it look like they're spiraling, but it's not really spiraling, you're actually twisting the spine. So drop the elbows, and they connect with that sit. So that sit is pulling one arm down and pushing the other out. So you're not really doing much with the arms. And then when you push from the leg, again, from here, you drop the elbows. So both elbows are down as opposed to up here. Drop elbows. And that allows the shoulders to drop and settle. And allows everything to relax down. So the more you can strengthen your legs and use your legs as you move, that's going to allow the rest of the body, the arms, the shoulders, the torso, the spine, to relax more, and that'll allow a little more of the movement. So now I'm going through all of that, and I'm going to do it facing sideways to you, so you can see what it looks like from this angle. So shift across, so the feet are parallel as you shift across. So you go from raise hand, step up, so the back foot's at 45, right foot straight ahead. Separate, sit down, and when you step out, the feet are parallel. Shift across. When you place the left toe, notice it's slightly in front of the other one. If it's in close here, what happens is this is all kind of closed in, doesn't give your hips a lot of room, so that when you sit down, it's a little more difficult to get into the sit, whereas if you have a little more space here, it gives you a little more room to separate the leg bones, get the hips to sit down, stretches in the lower part of the spine. So try and keep that in mind. Give yourself, when you do those little half steps, like in the brush knees, whip to one side, all that, is give yourself a little bit of space. You don't want too much, because then it's really hard to stand up and you tend to shift forward. But if you think of it as it's just slightly ahead of the other foot when you stand up, Gives you a little bit more room. So shift across, place the toe, spiral up. So all the weight is in the right leg. Drop elbows, turning to the right, sitting back into the hips. Step out, and then turn forward. Notice the arms expand out. Get to the balance point, and then relax and finish the expression. The left brush knee, the left hand is turned inwards and out away. A lot of people do the rest on the leg thing. Okay? It's out in front and the other arm is forward. So you want the hips and the shoulders to come square to the front, expressing from the back leg. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but I want to introduce something. It's a new exercise. So it's not a new exercise, it's a variation on a great exercise. So give me a second, I'm going to grab a prop and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my prop here. Now, you might not want to use a didgeridoo. You might want to use a chair or a wall or a post or, you know, a fellow student. You can hold on to each other. It's a good way to work with each other. But this is really just to give you something to help stabilize you. And I want to use this to show you where the angles are here. So looking at Stork Spreads Wings going into left brush knee, we're standing on the right leg. So all of you know Danyus. You got 2 feet under you, you're sitting down and you relax and stand up. Sit down and stand up. Okay, let's do one-legged Danyus, because throughout the entire set, you're going through each move with most of your weight supported on one leg. So this is going to help you really build strength in doing a one-legged Danyu, as in Stork Spreads Wings going into left brush knee. So my supporting leg, if I have it at 45 degrees, I am going to point my half-step foot slightly ahead of the other one, and now I'm going to follow those angles. So my support is straight in line with this foot. Now as I Danyu down, my hips are going to sit back and I'm going to turn and line up with the left or the right leg at 45-degree angle. And as I come up, and I want to keep my knee nice and wide. I don't want my knee buckling in, which quite often happens when we're supporting ourselves on one leg. Keep the knee wide, the body angles to allow that leg bone to line up with the toe. And then when you come up, you want to turn to the straight ahead. And then you're going to sit back, turn, and sit down. Up, turn forward. So this is the idea of the spiraling. So we're at Stork Spreads Wings, push up, and then drop the elbow, open, sit back down. One-legged Danyu. Very simple. Stork Spreads Wings, right? Spiral up, turn to the front, drop the elbow, open up, and then step for left brush knee. Okay? So this gives you a little bit of support to help you with that. Very little weight on the, so you can see, I'll point my right foot there. This will be out at 45 degrees. So I'm going to turn and I'm going to square over this 45. And then I'm going to turn and square to the straight ahead. And that's all it is. Just Danyu down, Danyu up. Danyu down, Danyu up. Same on the other leg. Supporting leg is at 45. This foot slightly ahead of the other. Give yourself a little bit of space in the hips. So you want the hips to be nice and wide as you sit down, and then push. So all the weight's in the leg, very little weight in this leg here. So you got the support, so you can start to sit down. See if you can tap your foot. So you got all your weight here. And if you're having to hold on to this, it means you're still not quite fully weighted into your right leg or left leg here, the one leg. But turn and sit down. turn and stand up. Turn and sit down. Turn and stand up. So you can do the Danyu with the arms. So press down as you sit. Push up as you stand. Relax into the leg. Relax the arms as you come up. So the arms, as your leg gets stronger, the arms will get more and more relaxed. But just remember that turning, lining up to the 45, lining up to the straight ahead. Okay, so practice that. If you can add some one-legged Danyus into your regular foundation exercises, it'll really help build leg strength. And then you'll start to see how when you do all the moves where you're sitting down and stepping, it'll give you a little more strength. It'll allow you to sit a little bit lower. And if you can, practice. Because you got a support, you can sit down nice and low and push up. And that'll really help stretch the tendons in the knees, the back. But be careful. I mean, if you have limitations, don't push it too far. Just go where you can, kind of put a little bit of pressure on and then come up. But utilize legs. Make sure you don't push the knee out as you sit down. Don't push the knee out. Sit the hips back. So you're sitting down into the hip joints and using these muscles to push up with. Okay, play safe. And we'll be right back with some more props. Okay, I got my prop here. So we're going to show you a variation on an exercise that you've already been doing, Danyus. And one thing I want to start with mentioning is, and I noticed something playing around with this ball chair here, that it can be a real boost. These chairs got lots of cushion to you. So when you sit down, you can sort of bounce up. But you don't really want to do this, but you can have fun with your Tai Chi, and that's what it's all about. Continuing class is you're going into some deeper stuff. You're going to be working harder, but because you're learning new dynamics and stuff, it's going to put a little bit more meaning to what you're doing with your Tai Chi, and it gives you something more to apply to the moves. Especially working on this variations of the foundations and stuff. It just gives you a little bit more to go on, a little bit more to play around with, and I really encourage you to do that. So back to the Danyus. You want to be able to sit down, and the common thing for a lot of people is they pop up as though they've got a ball chair underneath them, bouncing them up out of it. Especially with the one-legged stuff, if you don't have a lot of strength, there's a tendency to want to pop up out of the move, out of the sit. So you want to learn to be able to relax down into the sit and then relax and come up nice and slowly so that the arms, the shoulders, the torso and everything can relax. So you push up and then just let everything relax down nice and slow, relax into it, feel it, and then come up. So play around with that. Pay attention to how you get out of a chair. So when you're sitting, maybe at the office, at the desk, at the kitchen table, on the toilet, wherever, pay attention to how you get out of that chair. So do you sit down doing whatever you're doing? When you get up, do you push on the desk and use your arms to get up? Or do you kind of maybe you got some soreness and stuff? Well, something that will really help you is if you can try and focus on just using your legs to come up. Keep the body balanced, relaxed, sit down, do whatever you're doing, and then when you go to get up, push with the legs. Try and focus on that, as opposed to trying to lever yourself up. And that'll really help to start build concentration in how you're using your legs and help build strength in your legs. Now, Shelley had noticed something. I've talked about this with the foundation exercises, and this is another variation on one of the foundation exercises. So because we're talking about turning and stuff, turning the waist is a great way to start training the body to turn. Now, one of the things that I quite often say is don't move your hips. So when people start to turn, this whole thing turns as a chunk. So they do the exercise by swiveling the hips. But this doesn't really exercise anything in the spine. You're kind of twisting in the hip joints a little bit. But what you want to try and do, get the feet stable, connect the feet to the floor. How are you not going to connect the feet to the floor? And you want to keep the hips still. So they're kind of sitting back a little bit so that the lower spine can relax. So you want the hips to be sitting back, the body upright. But as you turn, you want the body, the spine, so each vertebrae to turn a little bit until you turn to the 45. And turn to the 45. So you bring the arm across, you set up the arm, and then turn the body. Now, it's tough for a lot of people to turn without the hips moving, especially if things are tight. So something that you can do to help with that is to sit on a chair. So you're sitting on the front edge of the chair, preferably no arms to the chair, because that allows your bottom hand to go back behind you. Set your feet up like you do in the foundation exercise itself, and then turn. So the arm comes across in front to the center, your upper body turns to the 45, but notice my hips can't move because I'm sitting down. So if you can get focused on your sit bones, pick up the hand, turn the other way. Turn. So just everything's nice and relaxed. The arms are very relaxed and soft. You just set them up and turn. Set them up and turn. So the wrists turn and the body turns. So kind of a general rule is the arm stays in front of the shoulder. So if I'm to stop midway, this hand will be equal with my shoulder. And then I'm going to turn the body to bring it so it's in the middle of my body. But my upper body is turned. So this hand is back and it's on the center. So then I shift the hands and then I turn. So if I stop in the middle, notice my hands are equal with my shoulders. And if I continue to turn my body, the upper hand stays with my shoulder until it's in the middle, and the bottom hand expresses back. Quite often what happens is people will fold the arm across and say, well, I'm turning, my arm's coming across, but this is getting folded here. So you want this part of the chest and everything to be relaxed and open, and the arm goes with the turn. So something to work on, keeping the hips still, keeping the hips stable so that the body can start to learn to get more mobile. This will help loosen up the lower part of the spine, help to connect the movement of the spine, get the muscles along the spine to relax, and then it starts to relax all the internal organs and stuff. So play around with it, don't force it. Don't strain and twist. Keep everything relaxed. Let everything settle. Don't force the movement. Don't pull your ribs over. Just relax and allow the body to turn. Give your vertebrae time to move, and keep it balanced and centered. Okay? So I'm going to get rid of my prop here, and we'll see you in a minute. All right. So we've come to the part where some of you have been asking this, so you get to follow along with me. So we're going to go through the move as though you were right there in the room with me. So we'll try a couple of different angles so you can see what's going on. But we'll start with, if you were standing behind me when we started the set, we'll be into Stork Spreads Wings, and I'll be facing this way, going into a brush knee going this way. So you'll be a little bit sideways to me, but we'll try a couple different angles here. So we'll do it a few times each way so you can follow along. Okay, and I'm going to give myself space in my studio here. So shifting across, place the toe, spiral up, drop the elbows, the arms start to express. I'm turning and sitting down into the right leg, step out, hands in front, let the arms go, relax into the front leg for the brush knee. Okay, do it again. So we're at raise hand, step up. We're going to go into Stork Spreads Wings. Shift sideways. Place the toe, a little bit of space. Push from the leg, let the arms relax and expand. Drop the elbows. Turn, sit down. Step. Hands in front. Left brush knee. Okay, we'll do it one more time. Raise hand, step up. Stork Spreads Wings. Shift. Place the toe a little bit out in front. Spiral up. Drop elbows, spiral down. Hips sitting back. Step. Left brush knee. Okay, maybe we'll try it facing this way, as if you were beside me. Okay, let's do that again. Raise hand, step up. Open the arms. Sit down in the left leg. One-legged on you. Step out. Shift to the right. Bring in the toe. Spiral up, pushing from the right leg. Drop the elbows. Spiral down into the right leg. Step. Hands to the front. Left brush knee. One more time. Open, sit down, spiral into that leg, shift across, sit into the right leg, place the toe, spiral up, spiral down, step, brush knee, square to the front. All right, so have fun with all of that, and if you got any comments or questions, be sure to ask us. And again, as always, like us on Facebook, check out the website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and take care. We'll see you next week. Have fun.